Hey folks, man, this is Monk, and we are back with another episode of Classics of Cinematics. Joined as always with my co-host, we got Bobby Blockbuster.
Yo.
Yeah, man. And today we got another classic, man. It's a nice sunny day in the neighborhood. But today we're going to be talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1990, man. And this is a film that's directed by Steve Barron. The plot goes as this, man. In New York, mysterious radioactive ooze has mutated four sewer turtles into talking, upright walking, crime-fighting ninjas. The heroes, Michelangelo, Donatello, Raphael, and Leonardo, are trained in the ninja arts by their rat sensei Splinter. When a villainous rogue ninja who is a former pupil of Splinter arrives and spreads lawlessness throughout the city, it is up to the plucky turtles to stop him. And I do want to point out that in the synopsis, they have that wrong. Shredder was not a pupil of Splinter. What really happened was Splinter's master and Shredder were friends. You know what I'm saying? And they fell out over a woman. And I believe it got so crazy that Shredder actually killed Splinter's master's woman because he couldn't have her. So he said, nobody's going to have her. And in the process, Shredder ends up wounding Splinter, cuts off his ear
and kills
kills the woman.
Kills the woman
and the master.
Kills the master too. Yes.
Shredder's a murderous psychopath. And he fled to New York City. I'm not sure how Splinter gets to New York City, though. Did we ever explain that?
No, we don't get that.
That's crazy to me. Unless he stole away on Shredder's like ship or something. I don't know, man. It's crazy. Nevertheless, man, this is a crazy film. As you heard off the synopsis, it's crazy, man. So this thing is based on a popular comic book series. And what happened is that comic book series got turned into a cartoon.
Yes.
And it was a big hit, dude. I think I remember being a little kid, and I think it premiered over a Christmas break. And it was one of those things where they were showing one episode every day, and that episode was kind of telling us the origin story. And then after that, they got into self-contained episodes as the series went on. But dude, I remember coming back, and man, me and my friends was turtle crazy though. We was already hooked. There was no toys in. All we had was the show. Everybody had it. It was one of we was talking about it at recess and everything, man. Like these turtles they were crazy.
Oh yeah, and then when they finally did start dropping the toys, I mean, they were flying off the shelves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then the cool thing about the cartoon is it brought a new dynamic from what we got from the comic book, as far as I mean, the turtles, they did have their personalities and everything, but what we got from the cartoon is the different colors in the headbands and everything like that.
So you could differentiate
them
turtles
outside of more than just the weapons.
And they would have the first initial on their belt of their name, like Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael. But as you alluded to, the original comic book, it was a runaway hit, but it was also more catered to older teens, man. Absolutely. It was a lot more violent, a lot more just, crude, and it's made by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. They created these characters in the series, but that book is way different in tone than what we get in the cartoon version.
Absolutely, like I said, it's more and darker in a sense, where it almost kind of hits like the same way that when Batman started doing the Dark Knight series. You know what I mean? It's very we're thrown into the underworld of New York and heavy with the crime elements and everything. And they are, for all intents and purposes, vigilantes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, vigilantes, and I think what was different, I think this film kind of merges both of them in a way that's effective. It doesn't get as campy as a cartoon, and it doesn't get as violent as the original books. It's somewhere in the middle where it's still a fun and entertaining thing that has a lot of like emotional impact, surprisingly, for these turtle characters, man. Like I watched this movie so many times, even to this day, I have such a blast watching it and rewatching it, and there's just a lot of things that go into the making of it, man. But I haven't even mentioned our cast, man. So let me take a look at that real quick. So we got Judith Hogue, who plays April O'Neil. Casey Jones is played by Elias Coates. And we got different guys playing these turtles, including Josh Pais, Corey Feldman, Robbie Riss, Brian Tochi. I do want to point out that Raphael's turtle is the only turtle that's the voice actor and the physical actor played the character. So
that's awesome.
So Feldman, Rist, and Tochi, they were only voice actors for the characters who were played by stuntman.
Okay.
Another interesting person that pops up in here as well is Sam Rockwell. He plays like we'll talk about when we get to that. He plays a funny character. And also I think the other main guy in this film will probably be Toshishiro Obata, who's Shredder's right hand man.
Yeah.
But let's get into it, man. What do we like about this movie, man? Because there's so much to it.
First things first, the elephant in the room is this is the Turtles live. You know, I mean, that's like that sent shockwaves through the world, especially, me being a young man, and I was all the way engaged with the cartoon.
You see this in the theater?
Yeah, absolutely, I did.
That's what it was.
Line to get the tickets.
It was the one where we was begging, like,
yes, please. You know what I'm saying? like you didn't want to miss this. You had to see it on the big screen, and we wanted multiple viewings as well. I mean, this film was it was done so well, but just the fact that we love the cartoon. Most of us as young individuals didn't even know about the comic book, but we knew the cartoon. You know what I'm saying? And to get it live action, this was hitting heavy.
Yeah, and speak about the live action treatment, like the costumes and stuff, they were handled by Jim Henson, who's the master. And you like what I think is really dope about these costumes. They afforded the actors the mobility to get really physical. And I think he did a great job, man. So it looks like they had the suits, but somehow the mouths were animatronics.
Yeah.
So maybe they were hooked up with wires in the back. Yeah. So whenever their mouths had to move, or maybe it was remote, they could, blah, 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 do the thing, the military.
Right.
And maybe maybe things with the brow to make it look, but they looked perfect. They looked
perfect, and they felt real. And in my young mind, it was like watching the Turtles real. Like, and this is what I would expect them to look like if they were to come sit in my living room. You know what I mean? And then the way they hit the personalities on the head, and then with the voice acting, it was great. You know what I'm saying? Especially like Raph was by far my favorite. I know I'm not alone with that, but just his mannerisms, like when you watch him talk, he does all this stuff with his hands. Like, it got the New York accent and everything, man.
And I think that's a testament to the rise that guy's the actor that's playing it, because he's doing all the things. He sounds more New York than all of them, man. Yes. Like it's so crazy, man. It's like a whole Seiko back. Tell me you didn't play money for this. Like I love the banter, man. Like it captures all of that. Like I think they did such a good job with that, man. Because the personality of the Turtles is here, and I don't think this film works without that, man. And they knocked that out of the park, bro. Like I can't explain it, man. It resonates, man. All that physical, even Splinter, man. When you're looking at this character, he's a talking rat, man. Like the whole. If I told you what this movie's about and you didn't know anything about the Ninja Turtles, you'd be like, why would I want to see that? What are you talking about?
Exactly. And then to take it a step further, the amount of attention to detail they did pay to the costumes. Like if you look at all of the turtles standing next to each other, there are more differences than just the colors of the bandanas. Like their chest plates look different. Their facial structures are slightly different. You know what I mean? Some like the way you put Donatello next to Raphael, and you can tell difference in their body structure and things like that. Like I thought that was it was amazing that they took that much time to pay that much attention to it, because that's, for us as the viewer, that's what we need to see, because they don't all look the same.
Yeah, even if you take away the bandanas, their faces have slightly different structures and shapes on them. You know what I'm saying?
Like when I was watching it just yesterday, like I was looking when Raphael was sitting down, like his chest kind of sits out more. Like you can tell he's doing more push-ups than the rest of the turtles. You know what I'm saying? Like he's swole, He is the bully.
And I think that's what really helps with the characterization of them, is the personality shining through, man. Donatello's the nerd. But honestly, I think maybe they didn't really get to emphasize his nerdness that often. But it's cool because you see cliques within the cliques. It's like Raphael is the loner. They're all brothers, but Raphael is like the loner. He's got anger issues. Leonardo is the fearless leader. But it's always cool to me that whenever you see them together, it's also this subgroup Donatello and Michelangelo, like they're a clique within the crew, you know what I'm saying? And they're always,
and then Leo and Raph is always bumping heads, but you know what? They'll go show to show with each other, you know, if the problems come, you know what I mean?
And it's funny because then Donatello and Mikey is like, oh, there they go again, like, you know,
right?
Like, it's just, this movie's awesome, man. Another thing I want to point out is the acting, man. Like outside, the turtles are crazy, but it works. The turtles are perfectly characterized. But then April O'Neil, Judith Hogue, who's very effective as a reporter on this. I definitely love Casey Jones's character in this.
He is my second favorite character. It goes Raph, Casey, because what he brings to this, I mean, he brings his own personality, his own element to it. But it's also like, you know, the fact that he's sitting there rubbing elbows with them, and it seems to not phase him. Like, you don't know what kind of things he's seen up until this point.
No, you know, where he's just like, because it's funny because like it's also ridiculous to me how like when he sees Raphael, the first thing is, oh, you're a punker.
You're a punker.
I'm like, no, bro, this dude's
a big ass turtle. Like even when he's running after Casey escaped and like he's running after him, he jumps over the cab and the dude looks at the back of the cage, he's like, what was that? And the cabbie just looks at him, he's like, look like a turtle in a trench coat. So you still going to the spot?
It's like to me, it's like punker. No, this dude's like, but maybe that's it. Maybe he's thinking this guy's dressed up as a turtle in a trench coat. But it's so.
But that's what kind of hits on that like the comic book element. Whereas you know the only thing that like puts the wool over everyone's eyes is the trench coat. So he got the trench coat, no one can notice that he's a turtle.
It's almost like Clark Kent throwing on glasses. Because I put on my detective hat and my fedora and my trench coat. Nobody's gonna ever see these big ass green feet sticking out the bottom. Right. I'm just gonna be able to buy a movie ticket to Critters.
I mean, or you just you look at how many other like you know comic book characters, be them superheroes or villains. Only thing they do is put a little thing over their eyes. No one can recognize it. Really.
You know? Yeah, man, it's nuts, man. But yeah, like the casting is great, man. There's some really great character actors in here. You know, Judith, you know, Ilyas Kotas. I think he ended up on Chicago PD or something. You'll recognize his face in.
He plays a lot of dirty cop.
Yeah,
and since this, he's been a dirty cop.
Yeah, he's great as Casey Jones, man. April's boss, Jay Patterson, man. He just has that. He looks like Commandant Lassard in the Police Academy movies, man.
Yeah. And you know what? Not for nothing, the kid who plays his son, the one who I can't. What's his name? Robbie, the one who runs away. You know, he did a great job as well, man. Like,
that's Danny.
Danny.
Yeah. But my man too, Toshiro Obata plays Master Tetsu, and it's crazy because this movie's nuts, man. So you got this criminal organization run by Shredder. But even within this organization, he's training kids. And this is one of the best scenes to me when I was a kid, dude. When Danny goes into the underground lair of the Foot Clan, which is basically, it looks like Dave and Buster's, bruh.
Right.
With free games. And they got cigarettes.
They got a skateboard rink in there. Everyone's chilling. They playing pool.
You know, playing MC Hammers on the joint.
The only other movie I ever seen where they made like being just an outlaw kid look so fun was when Pinocchio crossed paths with the little dude. You remember when they turned him into a donkey? They had that's what that reminded me of. But man, I saw that and I was like, man,
dude, when I saw that, I was in my head. I was like, is this do places like this really exist? Because I would be in there, bro. I would slam be in
all
there,
day.
You know, get my turtle on, man. Like it's man, it looks so cool, man. But then that's when Sam Rockwell pops up in this joint, and it's funny seeing him so young because I've only ever seen him as a much older actor, you know what I'm saying, and stuff. But it holds it down, man. And I mean the effects, man. Let's talk about that because part of it is these suits, man, and what they created with you know, Jim Henson, you know, crew doing that. But then there's also 2 sequences in the film that are flashback sequences, and it's pretty much all puppeteering. Like when the Turtles. Well, Splinter explains to April O'Neil how the Turtles became the Turtles and finding the ooze and all that, and you see these little turtles running. They're like, yo, it's so cute, but it's so well done as well, man. Yes. Then later on, Splinter's telling the story about how Shredder betrayed his master, and even that's done with some puppeteering and the cinematography. It's just so cool and well done, man.
The special effects that then also lead us to the choreography.
Yeah.
The fight scene.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, every time they're in action, you know, I mean, they're in these big rubber suits. I mean, and they're flip kicking and jumping around and using their weapons and stuff. Like, what another scene I like is like after, you know, the foot soldiers jump Raph, they throw him through the window, and then the other turtles start to, you know, fight the foot soldiers. The one goes up to Michelangelo and starts flinging his nunchucks, and Mike's like, a fellow chucker, and they start flicking them around and stuff. I mean, that was so cool.
It is crazy. And he ends up going the middle finger, but the chuck is spinning on the ropes. Like, there's no way you could do that, bro. There's no. But it works as a sight gag, and just the attitude and just the fun that these guys have, man. Because that's one thing that I do appreciate. Like, even in except to the very last fight, in the biggest face of danger, they just maintain their positive attitude, their wisecracking, and it's dope, dude. Like,
and they never seem scared. Like, they always they have the wherewithal to know, like, it doesn't matter what you throw at us, we're gonna beat y'all. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, 4 on a million. I mean, dude, the foot soldiers were so deep, they just kept coming. They kept coming. When they were fighting in April O'Neil's store, I mean, it's like, damn, when did they run out? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, it's amazing, dude. And like this thing, like, like there's a lot of crazy stuff going on behind the scenes of this to get this even made, because hold on, at the time the property was so hot, man. So there were like bidding wars to even get this done. But Golden Harvest, you know, ended up you know, being a production company behind it, which was interesting because Golden Harvest at this time it was mostly Raymond Chow, and I think for the most part his wave was kind of coming to an end. I mean, when I'm talking Raymond Chow, I'm talking Enter the Dragon, man. Bruce Lee stuff. They were doing a lot of Cynthia Rothrock, China O'Brien, you know, those kind of films, and this was probably, you know, one of the ones that came on the tail end of that, you know, especially going into the you know, the end of the video era. But it was a good get for them, man. And then they made the film, and then it gets distributed by Golden Harvest. Well, not Golden Harvest, by New Line Cinema, who was also enjoying, you know, a big resurgence. This is the house that Freddie built. We talked about that when we mentioned, you know, our Nightmare on Elm Street episode. And this film was one of the biggest films, like for 1990. All right, so you spent $13.5 million. Guess how much this thing made at the box office?
I would put it in the hundreds.
$202 million off of $13.5 million, man. And the crazy part is all the tie-ins with the marketing,
that's
and the merchandise.
No, I'm glad that you spoke on that, because I was about to say I know they got residuals on that, because I distinctly remember there was a bidding war between Domino's and Pizza Hut as to who was going to be the pizza distributor.
I think Pizza Hut won.
Nah, Domino's won.
For real?
There's Domino's in here. Yeah. Oh, 100% sure.
Okay.
It's Domino's.
But in here, but I'm talking about later on when we're looking at the restaurant deal. And I think Pizza Hut won that, dude.
Oh, they probably, I don't know about that. I know, I'm talking about as far as who was bidding to be the pizza distributor in this movie.
But in the movie, it was Domino's. That's funny. And it was at the time when they would give you $3 off if
for being late, and they even touched on that. But then when you look at the smaller scale, like, you know, when we're watching the kids when they're pulling the capers and stuff, the one dude passes money in a Whopper box, Big Mac. When they're sitting around April O'Neil's table eating pizza, they're drinking Pepsi, you know, and they make sure that they highlight
Pepsi company owns Domino's. That's interesting. I don't know if they owned it at that time, but I used to work at no, never mind. My bad.
I thought Pepsi
owns Pizza Hut. That's crazy. Yeah,
it's like Lay's chips and KFC and all that stuff.
Because I worked at Pizza Hut when I was, you know, in my teens, and they had Pizza Hut, they had Taco Bell and KFC. You know, as well as Pepsi, Mountain Dew, you know, those other drinks. You know,
see, and I think, you know, just looking at this in hindsight, that was probably a way for the movie company to kind of still give, you know, PepsiCo, you know, a little bit of, you know, advertisement as well. Domino's won the pizza war, but you know, we can't throw Pizza Hut in there, but we'll throw a Pepsi can in there and make sure that everyone sees April O'Neil drink it.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the table now. They got all these Pepsi products on the table. You know, my man got a juice box. I don't know what company.
Look like Ocean Spray. which is probably still Pepsi Cup. The best cranberry juice on earth.
But also, I do want to point out, man, production wise, because we're talking about the special effects, and the biggest effect is these suits. Because, like I said, the mobility allowed, the fighting to be just so on point. It's like I'm not watching a real action movie, and the quality is up to par with that. But I do want to point out this film was shot in Wilmington, North Carolina, for the most part, and what people don't know, man, that's kind of like the South Hollywood, dude. Like on the low key. I think Dawson's Creek was filmed there. Van Damme Cyborg. A lot of films were filmed here, man, and because they have a downtown section that can be substituted for New York, but also Brandon Lee's The Crow was filmed there. That's where Brandon Lee died, actually, in Wilmington, North Carolina, man, making that movie, man. So it's kind of interesting at the time. It was cheaper to film there than to film this thing in actual New York, and I think
you know what?
That's what kept this price down. That's what kept the budget down.
They did a great job because it has a New York feel,
all
the way through. And then not for nothing, just to take this into another thought is the way they established this criminal underworld and this criminal element that's going on. Right when the movie starts, we don't even see no credits, and we see the impact that the foot soldiers and the underlings are having. The one lady is sitting on her balcony watching TV. She turns around to take a sip of her drink, and she comes back, her TV's gone.
But it's kind of weird to me because, like, in hindsight, that idea of how they make their money was kind of absurd a little bit.
Absolutely.
Because are you basically just stealing everything and then you're reselling it? But who are you reselling it to? Wouldn't people get wise to this distribution? There's hot stuff popping up everywhere. Oh, they've got the TVs that's way cheaper, and it's crazy.
The reason why it works for the movie is because what they're doing is they're establishing the ninja element with the criminal underworld. Because the way it shows how they're pulling these capers and they're moving like ninjas. They're stealth. They're under the radar, and I think that they did that just so we know out of the gate that the foot soldiers and Shredder and everything that they bring is going to be. Also,
I think because they knew who their audience were, they couldn't get too deep into it. These motherfuckers selling drugs. They selling dope.
Exactly. Because it's still kids, and we're not there. We don't support the foot. We don't support the shred. We support the turtles.
Another thing I think that works for me is the story overall, man. Because like I said, man, it's a simple premise. Our turtles are doing what they do, and just in the course of April O'Neil's investigation into this Foot Clan and her, befriending the turtles, it makes the worlds collide because she's pretty much an investigative reporter, has gotten too close to the story.
Yes.
And the Foot is like, man, we need to shut her up. She's making it hot.
Remember when they come to check her? My man, he's a foot soldier. He's like, yes, came to deliver a message. And he holds his hand out. He's like, shut it. I was like, whoa. That kind of who thought of that? That's just wild.
And like I said, man, what I really love about the movie is the heart that it has, man. Yes. Even the conflict is so great because first of all, it's amazing to me, man, that the idea that you raise these turtles up and they're essentially just wild, crazy teenagers, but at the end of the day, Splinter is where the control lies, and he knows them too. And I think it's great that they all have different personalities because that scene when Raphael comes in late, he knows this is what this guy does. Yeah. He runs around. He doesn't like being cooped up in the turtle lair. He likes the streets, man. He's for the streets.
Yeah.
He comes back and he's like, man, you're different from your brothers because you choose to handle, my imagination is being this turtle. It's hard, bro. You're not a human. You're not really a real turtle. You're stuck. You can't be out there. You're of the world, but you can't be in it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big conflict that Shredder brings up. And he says you choose to deal with this alone.
Yeah.
You don't confide in your brothers or even in me.
Yeah.
And it's a difference, man. And I think that's just so great. Those little moments, man, they elevate this film higher than what it should be. Like this should be the lowest B movie Traumaville type Nah, you know what I'm saying? Like
it just
nutty
couldn't
stuff, but it
the
rises above that.
it couldn't because of the shockwave that the animated series injected into the young individuals in that world, us included.
Yeah, we were going to come see it, but I think it's better than it had to be.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
And to your point, it's because the story is told so well, but it's so layered. This is not just an action film. It's not just a kid film. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of, like you said, emotional, impactful moments. Like, after they throw, Raph through the ceiling and everything, and April's like, is he dead? And Leonardo's like, no, he's barely alive. And then when, and it really, I love when the film just really shifts gears and they go out to that like farmhouse.
Yeah.
And, that's when we really get like one-on-one interaction with each one of those individual characters. We get a first class seat into what makes them all tick as individuals.
The crazy part about it is this film is a hybrid. There are some original parts of the script, but some of those scenes are straight out of comics.
Yeah.
Including that scene where Raph gets thrown through the roof, and after he fights the guys on the roof, and they're like, "Is he alive?" And she's like, "Barely." That dialogue is straight out the book. Even the farm scene of them going back to the farm and regrouping, even April drawing Donatello, that shot is right in the comics. It's crazy to me, dude. It's so good.
It is in a parallel line is giving, a lot of kudos and props to the animated series as when it shows them riding the skateboards.
The goofiness.
And, not for nothing, you got to watch it. I didn't peep it, at first, but, I knew now. But when they ride to the farmhouse, they're in the turtle van. Like that's what Casey Jones is trying to fix. Of course, Donatello hooks it up in the cartoon and everything.
Yeah. But speaking on that, one of the best moments to me is when it was that moment where after they save April and then they take her back to her apartment.
Yeah.
And she's like, "You guys want to come up and hang out?" And he's like, "All I got is some pizza." And they're like, "Woo."
Yeah.
But then there's that moment where I think it's is it Michelangelo or is it Raphael doing the impressions?
Oh, that was Michelangelo.
Okay, yeah. And she's like, "Oh, you must be Splinter's favorite." And in her mind, it's
when he was like, "Oh, dirty rat."
But the way they respond to that was so amazing to me because it's a testament to how they've been brought up by Splinter.
Yeah.
And in their brain is confusing. It's like favorite, like he treats us all the same. He loves us all the same, and she has to play it off. Because it's awkward. Is I was just joking, and they're like, "Oh, okay." But it just hit me. I'm like, dude, that was an amazing moment, man. To put this is something that I don't expect in a movie like this, bro.
Yes.
Like this is Teenage Mutant. This is a movie. This is a movie meant to capitalize on the popularity and earn some money. It's not meant to give you anything really, no substance, maybe some action, but it rises above what it's supposed to be.
And to your point, like whenever we do, get Splinter on screen, whenever he is talking, I mean, everything he says is so meaningful and so, knowledgeable and so, and it's so like wise. You know what I'm saying? Like you can tell, like he never breaks character. Like he's just so impactful in this film. Like one of the parts that stood out to me most was when Danny was like kind of trying to decide if he was, gonna stay with the Foot, or help out the turtles or whatever. And he comes around, he peeks around the corner, and Splinter looks at me. He's like, "How could a face so young wear so many burdens?" Like, damn, that's kind of deep. You know what I'm saying? For like, a quote unquote kid film, you know what I'm saying? Like that flew well over my head when I was young, but as an adult, like especially like when I was watching it yesterday, when he said that, I was just like, damn. I had to pause it for a second, like, man, that hit. You know what I'm saying?
This is the moments. It's like true ninja master comes not from the body, but from the brain. Yeah. I'm like, bro, it's not even about the skills. It's about what you're meant to.
It's kind of like he tapped into Yoda.
He's Yoda-ing, man. Like it's so many crazy moments, man. I love this thing, man. It's a great movie. Even getting all down to the climax where we finally get the shredder cut, because one of the things that I really love is the fights, man. And I think the suits, the mobility of the suits is so great because I guess the first major fight is when they catch up to Raph and throw him through the sunroof, and he's buried alive. But then the brothers step up, and it's just a big ass battle, yo. They in that joint wrecking. It's Donatello, Michelangelo, Leonardo, and they hold it down because my man Raph is hurt.
Casey comes and helps out, you know, because he was like, who messed up my green friend over here?
Yeah, because
him and Raph,
because he sees Raph having his fight through the binoculars, and he runs, he starts heading his way over there. So when it comes down, then he helps them get out of there. And it's just such a great moment because their backs are against the wall, but they are still clowning, man. That's when we see the you know, the personalities coming. Like one of the things
like what we're used to from the animated series. This is, you know, because this is what differentiated them.
One of the things is interesting. Like when I was living in North Carolina when they were filming this at the time, and I remember reading in the local newspaper about one of the local I guess he was in a martial arts school and he got selected to be one of the characters in the film. He missed out on being one of the turtles, but he ended up being the foot soldier that was dunked in the who dunked I forgot who he dunked in the aquarium.
Yeah,
he spit the water in his face.
Was that Michelangelo?
It might have been when he spit the water in his face, and I was like, "Yo, that's so cool!" Because, like I said, we were so close to the production of this, man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I lived in Wilmington, I might have probably just snuck away and ran away from home every day trying to figure out where they were filming and find you know, looking around the set. But it was so dope, man, at the time, man. And
like you said, I mean, just another thing that, you know, I know we spoke on it, but, you know, the banter between the characters, like, you know, when that scene where Casey and Raph first meet each other, and, you know, he's like, who can say go bat and all that stuff. I love all that. And then, you know, we get even more of it when they go to the farmhouse because Donatello and Casey form a relationship, and when they're like fixing the truck and they're going through the alphabet, calling each other names like barf breath, cowhead, you know, all kinds of things. Like, I loved all of that, man. It helps elevate this film. It's so much more than just you know, a ninja film or a child film. You know what I mean,
man? That they're really a family, man. Like, I think that's great. And it's crazy. I got this one in the background, and I'm looking at Casey Jones on the roof, looking at Ralph about to get jumped, and I'm looking at these rooftops. And I'm like, man, at nighttime, that's probably right where Brandon Lee was running along. These same rooftops, man. Like,
it looks like it. Yeah,
crazy. Like how, you know, how Hollywood magic works, man. And but yeah, it is just dope, man. Like I'm gushing over this thing, man, and it's so much stuff that you know, every time I watch this thing, I'm like, I get really fond of memories, man. As far as story goes, it does a great job of taking you on a mission. It takes we introduce our characters, you know, and then they bring them to the lowest low, man. I think when they go to the farm, it's so dope to me, man. Like the music. And and everyone's got to like rebuild.
They have to refine themselves too. Yeah. And you notice they couldn't even do that until Raph came out the tub. Like they were lost until, you know, they knew that their brother was okay. So, you know what I mean?
And even the PTSD, man, they're only dude that they know their father is pretty essentially missing. Yeah. Yo, that scene like when he comes back and then he's in the camera spinning around. And the camera spinning around, and he's like, yo, dude, it's man, this thing is so much better than it has to be.
And the thing is that it still holds up now. You know what I mean? Like, I still watch this. I mean, I love this.
At least once a year. Yeah, at this point,
I mean, this is nostalgia at its best. I watch this, you know, as an adult. It brings me back to my childhood. It brings up a lot of memories and things of that nature. But I could go into this green and watch this, you know, at the age I'm at now and still enjoy it just because of all of the high points that we've hit so far in this show. Like, I don't know anyone who hasn't seen this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
there's some people, man. I mean, I can imagine it might have skipped their generation. At least people our age, most of us have seen it by now. But the newer people, man, I think they could appreciate this
absolutely
for what it is, man. Especially, you know, knowing, you know, what the Ninja Turtles are. Because like, I'm looking, like right now, we got the Raph on the rooftop. He's fighting these guys, and it's not hokey kung fu, man. He's out here like scrapping, throwing blows in this suit.
And the thing is too is that the the aura of the Turtles, it never goes away. They, you know what I'm saying? Like they have remade this, they've remade animated series, they've given us other movies and stuff.
I do like those new animated ones, but that might be my only gripe is like I think you guys should have put guys in suits, man. It just works so much better. Dude.
Where they lost me is they did the CG thing, and I'm just I get it.
Well, one of the interesting facts I just found out is they were thinking about doing these turtles in animation originally. They were going to mix live action, but have the turtles
like reframed.
And not to say in the last minute they decided like, nah, we're going to put
because it wouldn't have hit this heavy. It wouldn't have hit this heavy. Like this is what made this film work. It's just to they were hitting the target audience. They knew it was going to be a bunch of young ones that are just like even if the story flopped, even if everything else flopped, just to see the Turtles live on screen, that's all they had to do.
This was the craziest thing. Like
elevated.
I think this was the last thing that Jim Henson worked on, and this is kind of interesting because it's rumored that he was kind of disappointed with the amount of violence in the final film, but he passed away shortly after the film premiered, man. So I don't know. Maybe you got a guy like him who's used to doing Muppets and Sesame Street, things that are a different tone, to people are like that. Yes. But I think even with the violence, man, this thing does tell a great story about good versus evil, man. Like say what you want about the hokiness of the 80s entertainment we got, like He-Man, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and all that. Thundercats. But at the end of the day, man, most of those things, like even though they were trying to sell us toys, they were definitely giving us distinct lines between good versus evil, man.
There you
know what I'm saying?
And the thing is, too, is you put this on the scale. This film does a great job at staying right in the middle where it could have went extremely darker and been even better than what it was to the adult crowd, or it could have went a little more, cartoony and been better to the younger crowd. This one teeter-tottered and made it, and the way that they ran that line just made it a great film for all ages.
Yeah.
So the way that they did that, I mean, perfection is a hard word to use because nothing in life is perfect. But this film, like I said, I have never crossed paths with anyone who's seen it and said anything negative about this one.
Because when this came out, Daredevil was already a character, but I think Eastman and Lear played around with the idea that the same ooze that hit Daredevil, ended up going into the sewers and hitting the baby turtles. So in a way, the turtles and Daredevil were created by the same toxic waste. I thought that was kind of cool to have that.
Yeah.
I wonder if they've ever made a Daredevil and Ninja Turtles book because one of the interesting things that's happened over the years is the Turtles have cross paths with other characters, man. Yes. And I've had a couple of dope things. I think they ran into Spawn. There's a Ninja Turtles and Batman book as well as a Ninja Turtles Batman movie, which is dope, bro.
Yeah.
That joint is hard because Shredder and Batman fighting, bro. Shredder gave him that work, yo.
But you know that, and that's the thing, like. This hits so heavy on the vigilante aspect. Like what separates the Turtles and Batman and what they're trying to do outside of.
I wonder if the Turtles have ever worked with Spider-Man. The last thing I do want to mention about this that stands out to me is the fighting, the martial arts, and the action, man. Like this is a martial arts film, man, and one of the best ones, man. If you ask me, they spend a lot of time with the choreography of that. Yes. And presenting it, like even right now, so talking the scene in the background with the foot soldiers fighting among themselves, and they've got these guys training, and it's dope, man. Because I think having Jim Henson design the suits the way he did gave these actors ultimate mobility, and the fights, man, are amazing. Like that last fight between the Turtles and Shredder, man, once they pin him down on the roof.
Rain.
It's one of the top, man. It's one of the top, dude. It's so good.
Yeah, it definitely trumps the fight between Tetsu and Casey Jones. Like I love that little interaction because they just both start growling at each other. But Tetsu pretty much just he was obliterating Casey Jones. Casey Jones looked like he forgot how to fight, and the only thing that saved him was finding a golf club in the trash.
Tetsu Tetsu was going to give him that work.
What? Yeah, all day. And growl at him the whole time while doing it. But yeah, that fight scene at the end, and then you get that feel good feeling when you see fucking Splinter just emerge at the top of the ladder. Splinter, man.
And yeah, because the thing is, like, it plays out so well because they get up there and it's just one-on-one, man. They're being gentlemanly, which I wouldn't. Man. They should have just rushed this dude.
They have their honor code. They did not jump him not once. They all go at him one.
Even the way he comes in, because they just mop the floor with all his minions, and he just like, the way he drops with the music.
He looked like he was flying. I was like, yeah, you got a jetpack, dog.
And you realize, like, it's about to go down, and they all come.
I love his costume too. Like, I mean, even though his costume is kind of like, it's a testament to what we got.
The people version, though. This is exactly how the comics. It's not the TV show where he's got the cape. Well, he's got a cape in this because remember, Tetsu like kind of. He does. He does,
and
he's not wearing it in the fight. Like, he's straight out. His design is straight out of the comic. Man, you go straight out of a comic book, man.
Yeah, and it looks, it looks so cool. Like, you know what I'm saying, and then. That underneath that costume is just a bad dude.
He's bad. He's got the skill.
A bad dude.
What I say? What was that movie? Vampire in Brooklyn. When the priest was like, "Evil is good."
Yeah.
And not saying he's good, but in this case, his good is like evil is good at fighting because he's when they come, it's so great. He's just taking them out.
He don't even break a sweat.
My man's holding
one hand.
Yeah, bro. He out here.
And they got weapons. He don't even pull no weapon out. Like, I mean, I know he's got.
He got a spear. He's whooping on with the.
He's got the thing. He's
whooping on with the spear joint. He got the joint with the blade on the. He's pulling that out the gate as soon as they rush up. And he's dealing with him. It's so good. One at a time. Is that he got the spear right there.
Oh, he does. Okay.
Yeah, and as soon as
so the second wave is when he drops the spear. Yeah, because then
he's got it pretty much the whole time. Yeah, because he's he's dispatching them. And I think at one point, they're all tired.
Oh yeah, okay.
He's like, I just got one thing in mind. This guy knows where Splinter is.
And that's right. He puts the thing to Leonardo's neck, and then he drops the weapons.
But it's such a good fight, man. And then he whoops their ass, bro.
He does.
But I will say this because they stupid. Because they Shredder ain't teaching. Like, rush this motherfucker. Because they easily, and he even says it. He's like, you guys could have easily overpowered me. Just,
but the honor code.
Yeah.
You see, but that's the thing though. It shows, and that's how, like, it's still teaching to the young ones. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to live by an honor code.
It's teaching the truth to the young black youth.
You gotta live by a code, man. Yeah,
man. And it's funny because he's taunting them. He's like, "Oh, the rats." It's like it had a name.
Yeah.
it's like,
I turned his ear into a pork.
Basically trying to say that he's dead. But the fighting, like I said, man, the mobility of suits, it makes it so exciting, and the way he shot it. It's one of the I think it's impressive, man, for what it is, man. We've seen better fights since then. We've had, Jet Li and Ong Bak, come out now. But I think this thing for what it is, it's just a really classic confrontation,
and it's my mentor, and he's so smooth with that spear. Like I said, man, I forgot he had it.
Mm-hmm.
He's smooth with it, dude. Like Donatello, he got the stick. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? With him, he moves like rain.
Yeah, he got blades on his stick.
Yeah, he moves like rain, dog. He's
if I'm gonna fight any of the turtles, it's gonna be Donatello because he probably not gonna kill me. He's gonna knock me out. We get that. Might get CTE later, but I'll live.
Or maybe Michelangelo, because you might be able to just sway him when you tell him a good joke. I know, man, but if you tell him a good joke, it might throw his mind off.
I don't know if I want to
throw a piece of pizza at him and be like,
I've seen Bruce hit people with chucks, man, and it did not look like fun, man. But ultimately, man, this thing is definitely a classic, dude. Like I don't know if we're gonna see these turtles done the same way. Like I didn't like the first, the recent remake of the Turtles with the, cause mainly I think I really hate their design. Yeah, but I think the second one definitely tapped into the spirit of the Turtles a little bit more. Especially my man, what's his name? Tyler Perry playing Baxter with that laugh, that evil scientist laugh. It was so ridiculous. And then we got Bebop and Rocksteady. I thought that was dope, but But I don't know, man.
To me,
like, I think I need them to go back into the suits again. Like,
to me, no turtle film will hit like this one. This one was monumental for what it was, for the time that it came out, for the energy that it brought. This one, it separated itself from the animated series, from the comic book, but still paid homage to both at the same time. This film found a way to stand on its own too, and bring that realistic element to, you know, to all of the young ones, and also bring a high profile story that's very entertaining. This can't be redone. You can remake this 1,000 ways over, CG it, animate it, do whatever. This is one of a kind.
I think if someone committed to doing it this way again, I think you could make a good story. If you adapted one of the other stories, you know, and had them in the suits again like this,
but see,
it's possible.
Where that would fail is that they would throw in CGs. This one is no CG. It's all special effects. It's all it's practical effects. It's real people in the suits, and that's where I think that, you know, that's what elevates this one to anything that would come after it. Even if you throw them in the suits. You know, if they give us Bebop and Rocksteady, or they give us anyone else, they're gonna CG them. They're gonna CG them.
I can live with that, just because they're so much bigger than the Turtles. Like, it'd be impossible to puppeteer that and make it look right.
That's what makes this feel real. Is because it's real people doing real things.
If you had real people in suits fighting CGI Rocksteady and Bebop, I think I could work with that, but I just don't
give it a shot.
I just don't see them trying to make this type of film anymore.
They can't.
This, and also the costs are crazy now. They made this thing for $12 million. I can't believe it. Like in 1990, I haven't looked at the inflation calculator, but I wonder what that money looks like now.
But, like I said, I mean, also to that point, I mean, the amount of money that they actually had to spend to make it, I mean, they got a lot of that back on the back end just from every other company and you know, all these other people that wanted to be a part of it for promotional purposes and things of that nature. So, I mean, who's sweating off spending a little bit of money knowing you're going to get it back 10 times fold? You know, I mean, what'd you say? They 1.7 into 200 mil?
Well, see, I don't think this ain't accurate. So, like, they're saying that $12 million they spent on this will be $26 million today.
Oh, that's 12 into 200. I do that any day of the week.
Yeah, but that would be $26 million today. And just from what I know about filmmaking, I don't think you can make this film for like less than 40 today, bro.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So,
and still pulling back 200 would be like, oh yeah, high five, man. They turned 12 into 200. In the 90s.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, you can't do it.
You can't beat that. This film, this is, you know, it falls firmly in the bracket of it's a one of a kind film. It can't be redone, remade, remastered. It is what it is. And all anyone who has seen it or hasn't seen it, all you do when you throw this thing on the box, man, just sit down and buckle up because it's a ride.
Like, hey, I own this, man. I got it on disc. I
did too.
I'm on digital, so it's one of my favorites, man. But I think that's it, man. We're gonna wrap this up for us. I knew this one was gonna be long, man. But like
one more thing, and then when the credits start rolling, you got the song.
Oh. Yeah,
URTL.
Man, I had
to be rolling down.
I had the cassette single, man. Like that joke was crazy. I know that TV on the half shell.
Yeah, man. Oh man, dude, it's solid.
This day and age,
what more can you ask for, man?
The crime wave was high with Muggish Mysteria. All police in Texas are furious because they can't find the source of this lethally evil force.
Come on, you can't beat that, dude. You can't beat that.
Yeah. Let's get out of here, man. But, all right, folks, we're gonna catch you next time, man. Go see this film if you haven't. If you haven't, watch it again. Watch it again, man. It's definitely a certified classic, man. One of the best, man. All right, folks.